Nestled in the heart of Texas lies a quaint little town that seems to have emerged straight from a postcard. Dusty roads meander through fields of wildflowers, where vibrant bluebonnets sway gently in the warm breeze. The sun hangs low in the sky, casting a golden hue on charming wooden houses adorned with front porches and rocking chairs, where neighbors gather to exchange stories and laughter. This small-town life is characterized by its close-knit community, everyone knows each other's names, and news travels faster than a jackrabbit on the run. Children play freely in the streets while adults tend to their gardens or sip sweet tea on sunny afternoons. The local diner serves hearty meals that bring folks together, and the weekly farmers market buzzes with life as vendors showcase their fresh produce and homemade goods. Against this idyllic backdrop, the narrative unfolds, tinged with humor and eccentricity. Among the residents is Karen, a neighbor whose antics often disrupt the tranquil atmosphere. Her relentless trespassing has become a topic of gossip at the barber shop and over cups of coffee at the diner. This setting, brimming with warmth and camaraderie, becomes the perfect stage for an unusual tale of mischief and creativity. Among the cherished residents of this charming town is Karen, a woman whose eccentricity has made her a local legend. With a penchant for adventure that defies conventional boundaries, she is known for her relentless curiosity and mischievous spirit. Whether it's wandering into backyards during garden parties or inspecting neighborhood barbecues uninvited, Karen's antics are rarely dull. One summer afternoon, she ventured into Mr. Thompson's yard, fully convinced he'd left his prized hydrangeas unattended. The uproar ensued when she was discovered trying to take selfies with the flowers as if they were her own. Her reputation only grew after she inadvertently crashed Lucy's bridal shower, claiming she had wrongly navigated the decorations on display in the backyard. In another instance, she brought a casserole to an informal picnic, confusing it with a potluck invitation, though it was really just an afternoon gathering among friends. Laughter erupted as guests munched on the strange combination of ingredients, perhaps more memorable than good. Karen's larger-than-life personality adds color to small-town life, yet her tendency to trespass has caused ripples of irritation among her neighbors. It's these quirks that will set the stage for the escalating series of events to come. In the midst of this lively community, I share my home with a spirited parrot named Max, whose personality rivals that of any neighborhood resident. With striking emerald green feathers and an array of vivid colors splashed across his wings, Max is not just a pet, he's a vibrant member of my household. His sharp intellect and uncanny ability to mimic human speech make him quite the entertainer, often mimicking phrases I use during our daily conversations. Max has a playful knack for picking up on emotions, emitting cheerful whistles when I'm happy or mimicking my sighs when I'm frustrated. Our bond runs deep, he's more than just a bird perched on my shoulder, he's my confidant and partner in mischief. As I ponder over Karen's relentless trespassing, it dawns on me that Max might hold the key to dealing with her antics in a playful manner. I can envision Max perched confidently on his favorite branch, imitating Karen's voice with perfect pitch while exclaiming, "Help! I'm trespassing." The idea makes me chuckle as I picture the chaos that would ensue. Little did I know, this would lead us down an unexpected and hilarious path filled with moments I could only imagine. One sunny Saturday morning, I was enjoying a peaceful cup of coffee on my porch when I noticed movement out of the corner of my eye. To my dismay, there was Karen, tiptoeing across my flower bed as if it were a field of hidden treasure. She had apparently decided that my petunias needed her expert touch, and before I could shout a warning, she was plucking at the blossoms as if they were her own. "Karen!" I called out, frustration bubbling up inside me. "What are you doing?" She turned with a grin, completely unfazed, and declared that my flowers were crying for attention. I couldn't believe it, this was not the first time she had raided my garden, and I was at my wits' end trying to figure out how to address her trespassing without causing a ruckus in our tight-knit community. As I approached her, I could sense the laughter of a few neighbors peeking through their curtains, no doubt ready to enjoy the latest installment of Karen's adventures. It was clear that her antics needed to be addressed, but how could I do so without causing even more chaos? That's when the thought of Max and his mimicry came rushing back to me, igniting a spark of inspiration amidst my exasperation. As I stood there, watching Karen grin and pick at my petunias, a spark of inspiration ignited in my mind. What if I could turn the tables on her? My heart raced at the thought of teaching Max to mimic her voice, specifically that unmistakable phrase, "Help! I'm trespassing." The image of Karen's bewildered expression, caught off guard by her own words echoing from a parrot, sent a wave of laughter through me. This unconventional plan seemed not only humorous but also perfectly fitting for our quirky neighborhood dynamic. After all, what better way to address her incessant invasions than with a playful twist? I could already picture it, Max perched on his branch, his feathers ruffled in anticipation, ready to unleash his newfound talent at just the right moment. I chuckled at the absurdity of the idea, a parrot acting as my secret weapon against a trespasser. It was a light-hearted approach to a frustrating situation and could potentially diffuse any tension between Karen and me. With renewed determination, I set about devising a training regimen for Max, envisioning our mischievous collaboration transforming Karen's antics into an unforgettable spectacle for the entire neighborhood to enjoy. With my plan in mind, I gathered Max and set up a cozy training spot in the living room, equipped with treats and plenty of enthusiasm. The first attempts were filled with laughter and unexpected outcomes. I stood there, saying, "Help! I'm trespassing," in various exaggerated tones, while Max tilted his head curiously, clearly trying to figure out what this strange ritual was all about. At first, he responded by squawking a mix of random words and phrases that had nothing to do with my request. "Pretty bird," he cried one moment, followed by an enthusiastic, "Polly wants a cracker," the next. Each time he veered off course, I couldn't help but chuckle at his antics. He was certainly more interested in entertaining himself than mastering the art of mimicry. But after several sessions filled with patience and plenty of rewards, I began to hear faint echoes of the phrase I'd been drilling into him. He would mumble something that sounded suspiciously like "help. I'm trespassing," though it came out more like a garbled chant. The moments of success made all the effort worthwhile, fueling my excitement for what was to come. With each tiny victory, I could already envision the impact it would have on our lively neighborhood escapades. The day of the big test arrived, and my heart raced with anticipation. I had positioned Max near the front window, giving him a perfect view of the neighborhood as I waited for Karen to make her usual rounds. Sure enough, just as I settled onto the couch with a cup of tea, I spotted her approaching my property, her eyes gleaming with mischief. As she stepped onto my lawn, I leaned forward, whispering to Max, "Now's your chance." My palms were clammy with excitement as I watched Karen kneel down to inspect my newly sprouted daisies. Just then, Max puffed up his feathers and, in what could only be described as a spot-on imitation of Karen's tone, squawked, "Help! I'm trespassing." The effect was instantaneous. Karen froze mid-sentence, spinning around in shock to see where the voice had come from. Her face morphed into a mix of confusion and amusement as she looked at Max, who was now bobbing his head with pride. Laughter erupted from a few neighbors who had gathered nearby, peeking through their curtains at this unexpected turn of events. Karen burst out laughing too, unable to maintain her usual bravado in the face of such an absurd situation. The moment was pure joy, the perfect blend of humor and surprise that made all my training sessions worthwhile. The laughter from Karen quickly spread like wildfire, drawing in curious neighbors who had been watching from their porches and windows. Faces peeking out from behind curtains transformed into grins as they caught sight of the spectacle unfolding before them. Some neighbors hurried over, eager to witness the hilarity firsthand, while others clutched their sides, unable to contain their amusement at the scene. "Did you see her face?" one neighbor chuckled, shaking her head in disbelief as she wiped tears of laughter from her eyes. "I've never seen Karen so speechless." Another chimed in, "That Parrot is a genius. You're going to be the talk of the town." As the crowd gathered, the delightful chaos continued. Everyone shared stories of Karen's previous intrusions while marveling at Max's newfound talent. The atmosphere was electric, charged with a sense of camaraderie that only a small town can foster. Karen herself, still chuckling and shaking her head, finally gave in to the moment. She approached my porch with a mock-serious expression, saying, "All right, I surrender. Your feathered friend has bested me today." The warmth of community spirit enveloped us all as we basked in this shared moment of joy and laughter, knowing it would become yet another cherished memory in our quirky little neighborhood. In the days that followed, Karen's reactions to Max's mimicry were nothing short of a roller coaster. Initially, she was amused by the experience, laughing along with the neighbors as she processed how creatively she had been outsmarted. But as time went on, her amusement began to wane, replaced by a mix of bewilderment and annoyance each time Max managed to echo her voice during one of her spontaneous visits. "Help! "I'm trespassing," reverberated through the street at the most unexpected moments, triggering snickers from neighbors and continuing to ensure Karen was the talk of the town. Her expression shifted from humor to irritation as she grew increasingly exasperated with her own words being parroted back at her. One afternoon, after being greeted with the phrase for what felt like the 100th time, Karen decided enough was enough. With determination brightening her features, she made her way to my porch with a mock frown. "All right," she said playfully yet pointedly, "we need to have a serious chat about your little sidekick." I couldn't help but laugh at her choice of words. It seemed my plan had worked perfectly. In that moment, it became clear that our lighthearted banter would continue, but on a more personal level. As I reflected on the whirlwind of events surrounding Karen and Max, I found myself contemplating deeper themes of identity and community. Living in this close-knit Texan town meant that our lives were intertwined in ways that fostered both camaraderie and occasional conflict. Karen's antics, initially a point of frustration, had inadvertently drawn our neighborhood closer together, igniting laughter and shared experiences. In a place where everyone knew each other's quirks, boundaries often blurred. I realized that Karen's persistent trespassing was less an invasion and more a quest for connection, a manifestation of her desire to belong within our vibrant community. It triggered me to question my own boundaries. How far was I willing to go to embrace the eccentricities of those around me and what it meant to truly live in harmony? Our playful exchanges had evolved into a partnership of sorts, revealing how humor can bridge divides. Karen may have been outsmarted momentarily by Max, but the encounter reminded me that community thrives on acceptance and understanding. In the end, it's these shared moments of laughter, irritation, and reconciliation that shape our identities within the community tapestry we all weave together. As Karen approached my porch, I could sense a shift in the air. The playful banter we'd shared had evolved into a moment for resolution. With a mock-serious expression, she looked at me and said, "All right, we need to talk about your little feathered menace." Her tone was light, yet I could tell she meant business. I chuckled, realizing how our interactions had brought us to this point, an understanding built on humor and community spirit. "You know, I think Max just wanted to help you feel welcome," I replied, grinning. Karen laughed, shaking her head. "Well, mission accomplished. But let's agree on a little boundary here. No more mimicking when I'm just trying to borrow some sugar." We both burst into laughter, and I couldn't help but appreciate how our relationship had transformed. The previous tension had melted away, replaced by an unspoken agreement to respect each other's spaces while still enjoying our quirky exchanges. From that day forward, our playful banter continued, and Max's antics became a beloved topic of conversation rather than a source of irritation. The neighborhood thrived on this newfound lightness, proving that even the most eccentric of neighbors could find common ground through a little laughter and understanding. As I reflect on the journey with Karen and Max, it's clear that humor has a unique power to reshape our experiences and relationships. What began as a source of frustration transformed into a delightful tale that brought our community closer together. The lessons learned are invaluable. Embracing the quirks of those around us can lead to unexpected joys and connections that enrich our lives. Every neighborhood has its share of colorful characters, and it's easy to let minor annoyances grow into larger grievances. However, by choosing to approach these situations with laughter and creativity, we can create memories that uplift us all. Karen's antics, framed through laughter rather than irritation, illuminated the importance of resilience and camaraderie in community life. Ultimately, this experience not only strengthened the bond between Karen and me but also forged deeper ties within our neighborhood. As we navigate the intricacies of living among each other, let us remember the power of humor and understanding. It is these moments, filled with laughter and lightheartedness, that define our communities, reminding us to embrace one another's quirks while weaving an ever more vibrant tapestry of shared experiences. Here's to many more delightful adventures, courtesy of our eccentricities.